Okay, so this is just a kind of test, really. I'm just going to try and. It's not really an illustration as such, more of a kind of indent type of thing, you know. It's really just to kind of test out if a certain size and a certain kind of line quality will work. It's also a little bit of a test on this character. Also, it's hasn't really been fully worked out, so I'm kind of doing a few illustrations just to kind of test it out, see if it actually does work or not. So that's what this is. So it's supposed to be a test for a book on pirates, or it's not about pirates, but this is a pirate character that appears in the book. Hope to be out, I don't know, maybe kind of a couple of months. I'm going to need another couple of months to kind of pull this off, so I'd imagine I'm kind of thinking about maybe another 2 months and I should be there. It's nice when you got a book to illustrate, because there's a lot to kind of take on board with it. You have to think about the characters, how the characters sit in a setting, how they kind of work together. You need to design some characters. Sometimes people come to you with a very clear idea of what they actually want. But in most cases, people come to you for your experience and your abilities, and they will kind of say, I've got this type of idea, what can you do? Which is always a lovely way of doing things. I love that, being given a little bit of freedom. This was supposed to be a parrot. It's on the. It's kind of like a parrot on the shoulder of a on the shoulder of a parrot, and I didn't really want it to be a conventional kind of parrot, you know, the how you doing? So this is a nicer, more kind of pompous type of character. I want him to be a little bit more. I kind of like the idea that this kind of bird is a little bit kind of in love with himself a little bit, you know. That would add a nice kind of sparkle to him. Got him. I'm going to do like a perch here, and it's going to be onto his shoulder. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to attach the shoulder thing yet, but I like this idea of having a perch, almost kind of like he's a little bit too important just to stand there, that he's almost got like his own kind of his own perch. So I'm kind of working on that idea. It is actually really, it's a lovely thing drawing birds with ink. Birds just seem to have that kind of feathers, and that's just such a lovely thing to get the chance to do when you're illustrating. Kind of I mean, I'd love. I'm gonna have to do a book on birds at some point, just to get it out of my system a little bit, because you know the idea of coming up with a whole batch of different birds and stuff like that would be just fantastic. I've done a couple of birds. If you go into my YouTube page and have a dig deep in there, you'll find there you are. We're starting to get some feeling there of what I'm trying to catch there with this character. So I've got there. He's sitting on the body. I need to darken that up a little bit. Sometimes when there's a lot of line work going, sometimes it's very easy to lose the outline of the character. In that case there, that's why sometimes I just darken a few little parts up just to make it very clear where the actual character is. And such things like that. So I'm going to put him. I'm going to put him there. That's kind of on his shoulder. Maybe bring that up a little bit more. You can see that. This is his. Oh yeah. I didn't want to put that there. So see, you do make mistakes. Let's try and use that to my advantage. Let's make those ugly drops. I love drops of ink, I love it, but sometimes it just happens in a place where you just don't want it to be. And in that case, you either have to paint it out or think quickly. In this case, I'm thinking quickly. That's the kind of pirate hat. Dear, nice. Oh, the ink is very wet today. What the hell is going on? I didn't really want it to be that blobby, especially around this area. This area is going to be a lot of detail about the face, and I don't really want blobs like that joining up. I might have to do a little repair job in there. Here is okay to be nice and thick and blobby because I'm going to be filling in that with the ink. But around this part I want to try and keep it delicate. So I need to be a little bit more careful about how I'm applying the ink. Sometimes you kind of get a bit carried away, especially sometimes like now, like when I'm talking and I'm drawing and I'm talking and I'm drawing, and you kind of get a little bit swept up in actually what you're doing. And you need to pay attention sometimes. You need to kind of keep track of what you're actually doing. Otherwise, you'll end up making a terrible mess, and you'll have to redo the whole thing again. So less ink. and the details. With eyes and things like that, you need to use a little bit more of the tip of the nib. You know, they're kind of gentler, less ink. And then when you're doing the coat and the feathers and things like that, then you can kind of do whatever you like. So that's what I've tried to do there. I've tried to keep the eye clear, and then when I'm coming down here for his nose, I kind of go a little bit thicker. It's a smaller piece of paper also, so I've got to be careful with movement. With the bigger piece of paper, you've got a lot more weight to kind of carry. So if you're doing a small movement of such, it's not gonna move your drawing. But when you've got a small piece, if you kind of pull things too strong, sometimes you can actually lose the direction of what your drawing is, and it kind of jumps all over the place, which is what we don't want on this drawing. Again, this is just a test. Kind of, does the character work? Should I do this? Should I do that? Most cases these drawings don't get used, but if it works out very nice, I might be tempted. This is the collar of his jacket, the lapel of his jacket, I should say. It's going to come all the way down to these big buckles, these buttons here. If I need to redraw this, maybe I'll look into the costume a little bit more. Maybe I could research that and find a little bit more detail. It's always nice to have something that's recognizable to people, that, you know, the military people, if they know, they follow the Navy, and you draw something that's kind of something that they'll understand or recognize. It's quite nice. I remember doing a painting of Nelson, or was it Napoleon? No, Nelson. And it was actually really interesting to go in and research all the medals and stuff like that. So when I was actually painting them, I knew what they were and why they were there. It was fabulous. Give a lovely in-depth into what you are actually painting. And maybe I'll do that with this one, because I feel like this area here, I mean, it's just blank. I mean, I could put a pocket on there for now, but I kind of feel like it's a little bit empty. And for the character, I would think that he would, you know, it would be nice to be able to put some medals there or something. For now, we'll just put in a pocket, maybe with a knife in there. What the why not? Couple of pens. And it just kind of gives it a little bit more. You'll find that sometimes when you're doing something, you'll find that there's certain parts of it that kind of look blank and empty, and you need to think quick about how to put something in there, put something to kind of give it some a little bit more beauty. The same with what I'm thinking about here. I think maybe that. Right, this character has a hook on his nose. It's this long nose, and there's a hook on the end of it. So I need to be careful of that. And that is coming around. I mean, it would be lovely if there was some detail onto that. Again, it would be lovely to be able to go in and research a little bit of kind of Celtic patterns or something like that, you know. And fill that in with some real traditional patterns. Let's just put some little markers in there for now, just to kind of remind me of what I was thinking. Again, this is kind of like a sketch in ink. So it's going to be something to kind of remind myself later about what I was thinking. Some big hairy bearded pirate character. Again, I can when I'm doing this type of technique, I can feel the paper is moving and it's driving me mad. I don't like the idea that the paper's in control. It's like, and this is giving me the feeling that the paper's pulling, you know, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm going to bring that around. Can you see the work? But when it's kind of paper shifting, it's not a good sign at all when that happens. Let's try and get another pocket in there if I can do that without disturbing the big hook. So he has one leg like that, and I want to give one side a nice kind of like a nice high-heeled shoe almost. I think that will give it a nice character. Again, when that paper's moving, sometimes if I'm trying to do a nice curve, again, it just pulls it out of the way. It just kind of, well, there we have him anyway. So there we have the planned sketch, the character sketch for the illustration that will follow. That kind of gives me some things there. Obviously, there's certain things that I'm looking at and certain things that I like and I don't like. There'll be certain things that I will have to change to make it work. Just by the way that I've drawn it, certain things that I like about the design of him, so some things that I don't like about the design of him, and they will change when I come down to do the final illustration for it. Again, this is my character development sketch, and this will tell me everything about how I feel about a character. Does it work? What works, what doesn't work. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let's put a name at the bottom for you, just in case one day I'm amazingly famous and these are worth millions. That would be good, wouldn't it? This one is worth £2 million. Going, sold. Yeah, I look forward to that day. So, there we have it. Finished drawing for you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient enough to sit through these drawings. You know, sometimes difficult when I don't have all the fancy camera angles and, you know, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But very, very much appreciated you hanging in there to see the final thing. Lovely. So that's today's drawing. So I'd like to say thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you again very soon with a new drawing.